on. Oh.
You have entered Power Drive.
Oh, wow! In your life, have you ever seen a preview like this?
Right. Take it away. I was going to say that I do remember one Easter Sunday, Bernard Langer winning it and talking about the Lord rising and him rising in the same day and being like, wow, Jesus.
Well, my Easter Sunday is going to be pretty cool, but this Sunday is not Easter Sunday.
Oh, that's what I was just thinking. It's like you've been living the life of a Spartan.
I've been shrinking in the wash. I've been in the washing machine every night, sleeping there, so it's been an unusual experience.
But you can't have the massive celebration on Easter Sunday if you tip a winner here.
Yeah, I can. I can wait a week and have that massive celebration. You just got to celebrate life, whatever happens here. So I don't know what you want to do, guys. You want to talk about the tournament? You want to go through the Irish players? You want to go through my picks first? What you want to do?
You take it away.
Okay. I think that we're seeing a side of Tiger Woods that is very much human, and I think he's really endearing himself to everybody. It's just brilliant to see that. For all the pips and all the artificial incentives that they might try to generate interest in golf, that there is still only one person who has that natural aura, and that is Tiger Woods. And to see him tee it up tomorrow at Augusta is going to be pretty amazing.
Do you think there's anything in the whole Mickelson's not there, I'm going to ride back in and save golf, that is like, you know, when the rehab was too sore for him to do, that he was like, oh, Jesus, if I could just make it back for the Masters, that would really sicken Phil.
Well, I think the relationship with them has always been uneasy. I think it was disliked for a long time. I thought it got a bit warmer in the last few years because ultimately it became clear that Woods was, clearly the best player. Like Mickelson is the second best player of this generation. It is in a way sad that Mickelson's not there. I think more though it's about Woods and his son. I think having his son is now he's in his teenage years, is he like 13 or something like that? And his son is playing golf. I think that's a big part of Tiger being back, and he just wants to compete. And there's only so much time you can spend, I suppose, rehabbing every day and being in pain. Even if you're in the pain, you might as well go out there and get the adulation of the crowds and go there and tee it up tomorrow. So, look, I don't think he's going to win. He might have a good round or two, but I think the biggest challenge for him, as he outlined in the press conference yesterday, will be the walk. It's very hilly terrain, 72 holes. It's tiring, it's pressure. And I'm sure there's a lot of down rehab to be done as well. So
he wants to show his kids that he's good at golf. I mean, all they remember from their childhood, if he's not good at golf, is topless Santa with the sunglasses on. It's like, kids, I'm actually good at this game. It might have been 25 years ago, but like me winning in 2019 Augusta would have been their first time where they were like, oh, okay, we've actually seen this. We've seen Dad win a major. Yeah,
and as many times as he can have that experience, I think he's going to try. He's 46 now. Will he be there in 10 years' time playing the Masters competitively? Probably not. So how many does he have left? How many good summers do you have left in life? 4 to 5. So that's Tiger. Look, it's the Irish lads. We'll get to two of them in a moment because they're my picks. But the other two, Padraig Harrington, I think, he could have a good day tomorrow. He played well at the Champions Tour last week. He's 50 years of age now. He says he's got a bit of a knee injury. He hasn't been there in 7 years, but Padraig is one of the most intelligent people to ever play the game. So he can always plot his way around. Seamus Power. Hard to expect him to win as a rookie, but I do think he's got an excellent short game, and I just hope he enjoys it, and I'm sure there'll be a big Waterford contingent supporting him. I went through all 20 of the top ranked players in the world last night. I was going through like a line on each one, so I don't know if you want to pick one, lads.
So when you were doing this, right?
Yeah.
You picked the world rankings as, I presume the world rankings and the betting are very similar for a tournament like this, are they?
Yes, they are, but not necessarily, because my headline tip is 5th in the world and he's about 11th in the betting. So there is a...
Well, let's start there.
Okay.
Why the difference? So who is it?
Patrick Cantlay, as everybody would expect if they follow this at all, is my headline tip for the Masters. So Patrick Cantlay is 22 to 1. I'm just going through the odds here. Like, you can get got to go each way, folks. There's only 91 players in the field. If you rule out the rookies that aren't going to win, if you rule out the amateurs, if you rule out the old timers like Sandy Lyle that Ollie are not going to win the tournament, you're into about the mid-60s. A regular tour event will have 144 people or 156 people. So actually, this is a losing week for the bookmakers. This is why virtually I'm betting more than I usually do. Don't do this at home, please. Just do €1 each way. But I actually think there's value this week. Like, you're backing players to be finished in the first 9, 10 or 11. Patrick Cantlay Cantlay is 22 to 1 for 20 each way of our virtual money. Look, he's just an unsexy pick. He's an unassuming guy. He's a quiet guy. People might say he's boring. I don't think he is. And he also hasn't played that well, maybe the last 3 to 4 tournaments. So what? Like, this guy won the FedEx Cup last year. He won 4 times on the tour last year. He was 4 times in the top 10 at the start of this year. On all of the statistics, he plays really well. Actually, when you compare his last 2 rounds in 2019, when he nearly challenged Tiger, and then the first 2 rounds in 2020, he was 20 under par at the Masters. He does everything well. He was in the Butler cabin 10 years ago as the leading amateur. He took 2 years out of the game. Like, you're talking about Woods and comebacks. He didn't play for 2 years with a stress fracture in his back. His best friend died in a hit and run. He was right beside him when that happened. To come back and be the world number, like the top player in the FedEx Cup and the PGA Tour Player of the Year, is incredibly resilient. And I think his mental strength is going to be a huge factor in Patrick Cantlay contending this week. I think to finish in the top 9 at 22 to 1 each way, I think is a strong bet. And he's of all the big players, he's my headline pick this week. I don't know if you want to ask about that or whatever. But Thomas Pieters is my second pick. I tweeted out in January that I felt he was a dark horse for the Masters after I watched him win the Abu Dhabi Championship.
Ooh, big price.
He's 80 to 1 for 10 each way. Like, Thomas Pieters, like, is so naturally talented. He was one of the top college golfers in America. I don't think he likes to travel. In 2016, he turned up at the Ryder Cup as a rookie in Darren Clark's team and was the top European point scorer. Then he went to the Masters as a debutant the following April and finished in a tie for 4th. He hits it a mile. He's good with his irons, and he's back in form. After a couple of years in the doldrums, he's back in form. He's won twice now in the European Tour this season.
Can I ask you a question,
Yeah,
right? Because I'm seeing Thomas Pieters at 110 to 1 on Bet365, but I think they're only paying
8 places. I'm going 10 places.
So what do you do? Do you take the bigger price for the 8 places? Do you take the shorter price for the 10 places?
In this instance, I'm going to go for 10 places because I just want that bit more security.
Okay. And you're willing to make that sacrifice
I'm willing to make that sacrifice because I think Thomas Pieters should be 50 to 1. He's 80 to 1, 110 to 1 in places. I think is very much a value bet this week.
There's a couple of bookies I've never heard of on Odds Checker that have them bigger than that as well.
I don't trust those bookies. I don't trust them.
Yeah.
Fair
enough. Bet with people you know.
Exactly. So Thomas Pieters has got the talent to win this. Like, is Thomas Pieters going to wilt under the pressure? He could miss the cut, but is he going to wilt under pressure? No, I don't think he is. And that's why he's clearly my second pick behind Patrick Cantlay. I think he's a fantastic price. I backed him last Saturday 100 to 1. That's number 2. Number 3 is Rory. Like, people, here we go again. You're
sorry to interrupt again, right? Because he's on Betfair Exchange at 123 right now. I don't know what the story is with the exchange.
Well, the Betfair Exchange, remember, is only win only. There's win only, and then there's top 5 and top 10 on the Betfair Exchange.
Okay.
So, you know what you're using the Betfair Exchange for, if you're going to get into the technicalities of this, is to trade. So if Thomas Pieters ends up in a playoff, or he ends up leading on the Sunday and he's 3 to 1, you lay it off. You hedge your bets like a stockbroker.
Right, and you don't do any. Do you do any of that for the Masters or anything like this?
Like Scotty Scheffler. Remember Will Zalatoris and Scotty Scheffler? We tipped them earlier this year. I laid them off because they both reached playoffs. I laid them off for significant profit.
Right.
Zalatoris. Remember Luke List won. We had Luke List as well.
Oh yeah.
So I laid off Zalatoris for half my money. So that's why the whole point of, if you want to have a crack on somebody in the exchange, you can get 200-300 to 1, you get bigger prices. The whole point should be to trade, not to just leave it there.
So when they get down to like single digits,
like,
off.
Yeah, you got these big players like with big money that might be trading on like between 70 and 50 to 1 or whatever. The whole point of tipping Rory at 18 to 1, and this is for 10 places, is that Rory's been in the top 10 6 of the last 8 years in the Masters. There are definitely legitimate concerns about his approach play, about his mentality, about the career Grand Slam, about all these kind of things. But if you look at 6 of the last 8 years, at 18 to 1 to finish in the top 10, if you finish at the top 10 again, you make a profit. That is the rationale behind Rory being the third pick this week.
Yeah, and I look, I get it. The backdoor top 10 from Rory McIlroy, where he shoots a 62 on the final day, having been completely out of contention. That's on the cards.
Absolutely. And that's why it's about profit. It's not about winning and losing. Of course, we want to tip the winner. That's what we're here for. But it's also about profit. About me finishing ahead of the virtual money, as I am at the moment and I was last year.
How concerned are you about missing the cut last week?
Me? Rory? No, not at all. Rory, the actual stat here, I was here like really burning the oil. And the one thing I wrote down beside Rory McIlroy, has won 4 times the PGA Tour the week after missing the cut.
Okay. So it doesn't matter to him.
The bigger worry for Rory is his irons and his wedge play. The rest of it, actually, the conditions are good this week, and the high ball hitting could, I think Rory in wind and Rory in bad conditions, and I think good conditions this week could help him.
Okay.
Shane Lowry's the fourth one at 40-1 for 4-2, a fifth of the odds of first 8 places. Lowry, I think Portrush is a huge thing for him. And I think that winning that by 6 shots has freed him up. He's playing really well. He was second at the Honda. He's very good on the approach stats at the moment on the PGA Tour. Top 15s of the Players' Championship, the Valspar Championship. 11th in strokes gained approach, as I said. 21st last year. I think he's getting to know Augusta a bit more. Put it well at Oakmont when he nearly won the US Open. I think Shane Lowry can definitely contend this week. I think he's comfortable in this Sunday arena. The fifth one is Mark Leishman. He's the experience horse here. Players who continually go back to Augusta and play well. He's 70-1 for 4-2. 38 years of age, is happy with his game, has been 3 times in the top 10, including a tie for 5th last year. Lost a playoff at the Open Championship, and has also won big events at the Farmers Insurance Open and the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So he knows how to win. He's a 6-time winner. All the focus is on Cam Smith, but maybe Mark Leishman might be the Aussie. And the final one at 90-1 for 4-2 is Siwoo Kim of South Korea. This guy is ridiculously talented and he's very temperamental. Broke his putter last year in the second round. Won his tour card at the age of 17. Won the Players at the age of 21. Is really good off the tee. Doesn't have that many weaknesses. Good short game. Was tied for 13th in Texas last week. Won last year on the tour. Is a bit of a dark horse. Has had 3 top 25s of the Masters and was tied for 12th last year. So Siwoo Kim, Mark Leishman and Shane Lowry, these are in the bracket of those kind of mid to high range each ways. Rory, the whole rationale there is that he finishes in the top 10. If he wins, fantastic. Wonderful for Irish golf. Thomas Peters, I feel very strongly, is a very good each way bet as my number 2. And I'm going to stick with Patrick Cantlay, who I think is vastly overpriced at 22-1 with the bookies and then even 27-1 on the exchange. For a guy who was probably the hottest player in golf only about a month or 2 ago.
Right. Well, they're the tips. We'll talk about some of the top 20 in the world. Oh, and you two have been doing your own Augusta deep dive.
This is the important stuff. This is the look at what you can actually buy on the course at Augusta National. So say, for example, if you've just dropped 10 grand on a ticket at Augusta National.
Cash.
It doesn't matter. If you eat enough food on the course, you will essentially make that money all back because it is so bloody cheap. We've got 2 big pieces of news this year going into the concession stands at Augusta National 2022. The first piece of news is that the sausage biscuit is out. This is off the menu. This has been replaced with something that is arguably better. You've now got the breakfast sandwich, which is fried egg, sausage patty, bacon and American cheese on a brioche bun. It'll cost you $3. That is €2.75,
Whoa.
which will get you half a jambon in a Dublin city centre deli counter. So that is exceptional value for a full breakfast roll, essentially. So this is a net win, I would say. That one coming off and that one going on in the Augusta concessions menu scores. So
Brioche is basically candy floss, by the way.
it basically is. It's absolutely amazing. The second piece of news, and this is bad news, this is a hit that the menu simply cannot come back from. The famous Georgia peach ice cream sandwiches are gone. There have been supply chain issues, and it means it cannot be produced in great enough quantities for the tournament. This is obviously a great scandal. You don't need me to tell you that. And the Augusta Chronicle have been on top of this scandal. And I quote from their website. Jordan Udy, who made the trip from Farmington, New Mexico, described the news as a total bummer on Monday afternoon. Golf.com has also been in on the news. In losing the ice cream sandwich, Augusta National is losing a piece of itself, they say. Another quote from their piece. "Oh my goodness, you're kidding," one otherwise pleasant woman yelled when she heard the news on Saturday at the Augusta National Women's Amateur. So the Georgia Peach ice cream sandwiches being gone is an absolute scandal before a ball is even hit this year in the tournament. Just to give you a rundown of the full menu, the price of a pint is going up in Dublin. As we know, it's also going up in Augusta right now. You've got a domestic beer for $5 on the course. Last year, a domestic beer would have only set you back $4, and not long ago, you would have got a domestic beer on the course for $2.75. So they're rising the cost of drink on the course. If you talk about some of the other drinks you can get a coffee for $1.50. A chicken biscuit sandwich, by the way, is $1.50. And then that brings us to the sandwiches, the famous sandwiches. Your egg salad sandwich for $1.50, your Masters Club sandwich for $3, your turkey and cheese on wheat for $3. But of course, the famous Augusta snack is the pimento cheese sandwich, which is still at the cheap price of $1.50. Now, last week, Golf Digest did a great piece. Sam Weinman of Golf Digest did a deep dive on the pimento cheese sandwich. And I hadn't realised this, but up until 15 years ago, Augusta National used to import their pimento cheese sandwiches from a South Carolina caterer. And then they decided to make it more closer to home, and Augusta changed to a company in Augusta who tried to crack the recipe. So there was this guy, Ted Godfrey, who Golf Digest also spoke to. He tried to crack it, and he said, we tried over 33 cheeses and we still couldn't get it right. So it took him 6 months. He did eventually get it right, and Augusta National was back on track with its pimento cheese. He was asked by Golf Digest for the key ingredient, and he said, I can't tell you.
Pimento?
So Augusta were happy with it, but then Billy Payne decided in 2012 that no, just having someone in Augusta is not going to be good enough. We want someone on Augusta National within the confines of this course to actually be producing this pimento cheese. So this guy lost his business. They asked him for the secret recipe, and he said he'd give them the secret recipe if he got a couple of badges for the course. And they said, nah, you're grand, thanks. And then in 2013, the first year without this guy, Wright Thompson blew the lid off this thing. He said, the pimento is different. There's definitely more spice, and something there's more mayo. The consistency has changed, sometimes leaving soggy bread gummed up around a big blob of the spread. From the outside, it seems like a combination of legal liability issues and stubborn pride has left the Masters concession staff trying and failing in a rare moment of fallibility to recreate the same recipe that generations of golf fans have enjoyed. It's still $1.50, but it ain't what it used to be, it seems.
Soggy bread.
I'll be texting my sister. She's over there, as I said today, and giving her that update.
Hopefully she has tickets for today.
Yeah, today and Friday.
Okay, great, because yesterday Nathan was saying they got called off because of the weather.
Yeah, a washout. Look, folks, if you're going to get involved in this, never gamble more than you can afford. I'm a pro in my own mind at this, so that's what I'm doing, the tactics and the strategy that I'm doing here, so don't go mad. Yeah, look, it's going to be great, you know.
The other top 20 people of interest to you who aren't you aren't tipping, do you go through that top 20 with the intention of knocking them out, or just as this one could be a live threat to me here?
Yeah, all 2,346 words of the preview are now on OTBSports.com and on the OTB Sports app. I respect you. It's like with mafia. But Xander Schauffele, I can't have you this week. But Xander Schauffele is somebody I respect. Just doesn't win enough. 4 times only on the PGA Tour, but he's been 9 times in the top 10 and 18 majors, and he was tied for second and tied for third. Hit it in the drink last year when challenging Hideki. I respect Xander Schauffele. I also respect Justin Thomas with Bones Mackay, Phil Mickelson's ex-caddy, on the bag. Great approach player. 14 times a winner on the PGA Tour. No problem with getting it done. John Ram is not putting well enough for me at the moment, and there's a bit of anger there. John Ram, was kind of his press conference yesterday was a bit strange. He was talking about like Justin Thomas getting dissertations from Tiger, and Tiger not giving him any advice on the golf course. I found it a bit of a strange press conference. Look, you got to respect Cameron Smith and Scotty Scheffler, the way they're playing, but it's just hard to win and peak all of the time. This is all about peaking, and all of the stuff I've read over the last week, there's this narrative, well, it hasn't played well in the last couple of weeks. It doesn't work that way. There are storylines here that we can't foresee, and sometimes you need to go against the grain on the storylines. Like Hideki had disappointed so many times after promising to win the Masters, and then he turned up last year and won it. I think that sometimes people can get too narrow about the statistics and the strokes gained approach, and sometimes this is about, having watched a lot of these over the last few days, past Masters, a lot of it's going to be won between the ears, and that's why I'm comfortable with the likes of Cantlay, who is a ice cold killer. Thomas Peters has got all the talent. Rory can say maybe not, but the top 10, that's the rationale there. Shane Lowry's definitely capable of winning this.
What about James Power? Because he's a rookie, he can't win?
There's that. I think it's just experience. I don't think it's because he's a rookie he can't win. Like Sam Burns could win this. It's just hard. Only 3 rookies have ever won it since 1934, and obviously the first one is because of the first one, Horton Smith. I just find it difficult to see Seamus turning it up and winning this. It takes a while. It takes maybe about 6 to 8 tries. You can even see Shane Lowry's performances have slowly improved over the years, in that his best performance was last year. Rory took a couple of times to get his head around it before he then really contended. So, look, he's got a great short game, but the nuances of Augusta, even I was speaking to Keith Wood outside, like the nuances of the slopes and hitting in the right areas are so pronounced that you just don't see them on television. So, no, I can't see him winning it.
All right. Anything else you wanted to keep an eye out for the future? One last question, sorry.
Yeah.
You were talking there about Hideki turning up and winning it. Are you somebody who, in the middle of the tournament, will look at where people are and see if you can spot somebody coming from behind, or are you exclusively Wednesday is when I make my bets, and the rest of the week I watch and enjoy?
I think there was only once in my life when I did that, and so I didn't have the money on the Thursday in the back pocket of Carrington to win the Open on the Saturday morning, 33-1, and he won. So that was 15 years ago, and that's why it was 15 years ago. No, Jerry, I would stick to your guns, because if you start getting involved and you start getting back in 25 golfers because of the ebbs and flows of a Monday round, and it doesn't work that way. The tournament, they say it only starts in the back nine on Sunday, and that is completely true. Don't mess up your mind around it. Stick to your guns. I'm going to decide whether you follow my advice or have your own advice. This is only a guide, but like, you just got to follow the kind of the key things here. Like, an elite player is probably going to win this. I think Bubba was the last player 10 years ago who wasn't an elite player to win this. So you have to expect an elite player to win it. It's just stick to the obvious is what I'd expect. And we know that at the moment that the depth of talent is so great in golf at the moment that look, I think we're going to hopefully have a great week.
All right, John Duggan, good
All right,
stuff.
lads,
Thanks
care.
very much for that. You can get John's stuff on otbsports.com, and of course, presenting Off the Ball on Saturday on News Talk from 1 as well.